do 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 do. Sorry, I was like doing a little Judge Wapner. Woo! I don't know. Welcome to the People's Court. No, welcome to Fantasy Sports Addicts Anonymous. My name is Tom. Yeah, that's right. I'm a fantasy sports addict. All right. So today is January 11th. And we are, I don't know, just about a month away from pitchers and catchers reporting. We're waiting for spring training to begin, and here we are a month out, and so many players have yet to sign. We have a hot stove that has gone cold. It is a chili stove, or it's a non-stove. The pilot light went out. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in relation to your fantasy baseball drafting, whether or not it actually matters. We'll talk about a few of the free agents that are still out there, why they're still out there, and if they're going to go anywhere that matters, yada, yada, yada. We'll also talk about trades that didn't happen and why you don't post videos and articles before the trade is finalized. Yes. Andrew from Fantasy 8, I am talking about you, sir. But yeah, hopefully you all had a very nice holiday season, Christmas, New Year, all that. We're officially on it, though. It's fantasy baseball season. Hopefully you've been catching some of the early rankings, early projections, all that stuff. It is still to be determined, though, about certain players. We'll talk about that. And there's one other thing I want to talk about. Well, two other things I want to talk about. I want to talk about how we're going to proceed with FSAA, things we're going to do in the future, right? You know, we've maybe made some mistakes along the way, learned a few lessons. We'll talk about all that. And we're going to talk about a couple other things that are bothering me. And I don't know. Oh, yeah, the future of where fantasy sports will be played at. And sports media in general. So stick around for those topics. Also, a special announcement at the end of the podcast. So getting right into this, the hot stove that is not hot. Basically, yesterday we had the biggest fake news, fantasy fake news story we've seen in quite a while. We had John Morosi tweeting urgently in the morning that Gerrit Cole from the Pirates, their ace, if you will, had been traded to Houston Astros. Now, you think, wow, the Houston Astros, World Series, they just got better, lock to repeat. But, you know, a couple hours go by, clock's ticking, nobody's really completely confirmed it. And turns out there is no deal. There's no deal. Andrew, I don't know why you posted a video. We all got real excited. Oh, Gerrit Cole's going to the Houston Astros. You know, I'm sure we can talk about that if and when that trade actually does happen. But so far, it hasn't happened. Gerrit Cole, of course, has been rumored to be shopped. Nice piece. I mean, he's 27. You'd think this is the year he should put it together. I'd like to see that K per 9 go up. I don't really expect the ERA, maybe the control somehow gets a little better, but I don't know how I feel about Gerrit Cole as a dynasty owner, or as just he's an okay second or third guy to draft, I suppose, in redraft leagues. So that didn't happen. That trade didn't happen. Now going to Houston, he's worth more wins. That's one thing to consider. I don't think his ERA goes up or down or really anything noteworthy happens, just more wins. So don't post videos and make articles, write articles, go through all that trouble when nothing's been decided. I think there was a lot of talk of, you know, who were the Astros going to trade? Were they going to give up Whitley? And why wouldn't the Pirates expect Whitley or Whiteley? Or sorry, bad pronunciations. You know who I'm talking about, though. Houston prime pitching prospect. Why wouldn't Pittsburgh want that back? You wouldn't trade Gerrit Cole otherwise. But apparently that's not in the mix, or who knows what held it up, but not happening today anyways, or yesterday. So about the biggest free agent news we got in terms of signings was Jay Bruce. Now, of course, previously in the hot stove season, right, we had a few minor moves. But I think what we're seeing here is the whole market is just basically held up on one or two things, or sort of like a set of dominoes waiting to fall. They always talk about it like that. But you would think maybe the Cole trade. I think people talked about that. You would assume maybe a Cole trade would sort of like ignite the fire. Like, oh, man, okay, that's one more prime pitcher off the market. We didn't even know he's available. Maybe we wanted to make an offer, didn't have the pieces that Pittsburgh wanted. Hopefully you'd expect something like dominoes to fall, like Arrieta signs, Darvish signs, right? But all of these free agents seem to sort of be waiting for one another, or waiting for, I don't know. I think what we're looking at here is a huge list. I mean, let's go through the list. We've seen it. People have posted it. I don't need to tell you all the free agents. You probably already know this. And again, that's not what I'm about. I'll hit the highlights here. But when you got guys like Hosmer and JD Martinez and, Jake Arrieta and Yu Darvish all asking for really long contracts for a lot of money. Cobb. Don't even forget about Alex Cobb. But then with guys with almost no track record like Alex Cobb asking for $20 million a year, 5-6 year deals. Well, what we're seeing is a bunch of Scott Boras clients, okay? Everybody, like, if you've heard any of the rumors about, like, where Hosmer may end up and what his demands are, there's talk of 8-year contracts. And I don't know about anybody else. Unless it's Bryce Harper next year, becoming a free agent at the age of 26, I don't really want to sign any player for 8 years. Look how well that goes. The other problem we've got with all these guys asking so much money is they're all on the wrong side of the age scale, basically. When you're thinking about players you'd want to invest that kind of money in, that many years in as far as a franchise going forward, you're wanting a Bryce Harper who's 26, not, a JD Martinez who's 30, right? You're giving, like, JD Martinez could very well hit like Nelson Cruz until he's 36. I mean, it's entirely possible. And in which case he might be worth his supposed $20-30 million a year, whatever he's asking, but the risk and the track record would indicate somewhere around 34 or 35, he's going to hit that speed bump. Same thing for Hosmer, right? Now we got Darvish, who I believe is 31, and Arrieta, who is 32, 33, if I'm not mistaken. Each of these guys is basically holding up the other. And I think what they're waiting for is Cobb. Cobb wants his $20 million. Cobb's not going to sign until somebody else signs, and nobody else is going to sign until somebody else. It's all about money. So the franchise owners and the GMs don't want to give the players this money, but they can't take less money because of the players' union and, again, their agents. So everybody's just held up on one piece, one little linchpin. We'll call it the cotter pin. Pull that pin, boom, bam, biggity bam. Whole hot stove trade season, everything just starts coming down. We got more trades. We're hearing about Darvish is narrowed down to 6 teams. That's a good sign. Of all these free agents to sign first, I think Darvish is most likely to sign first. That's a guess I'm going to make. He sounds like he's closest to signing of anybody. He's got his list narrowed down to 6 teams, right? We got Texas teams, Chicago, Dodgers obviously in the mix, and Minnesota. I think I left somebody out, but I really think it makes the most sense for him to either just go to Chicago, cut in front of Arrieta or Cobb. Just, hey, Chicago, you need a starter? Bam, here I am. I'm Yu Darvish. I see him very easily ending up with one of the Texas teams if Houston doesn't go get the piece they want to trade. But Darvish, I think, will sign first. That'll free up some of the pitching, the free agent pitching, okay? The big issue, though, would be whether or not these offensive players who are so close to, again, they're very productive players, but they're so close to the wrong side of the age spectrum that 6 years, 8 years, 20 million, 30 million, none of that makes sense. I mean, that's just going to drag on. We've got JD Martinez talking about how he might just sit back until spring training. Sit back until spring training. Well, in his case, maybe he can do that. Let's take one break for 1 second. Like this guy, we love our JD Martinez. We always talk about just dongs, right? Not a very good defensive outfielder, right? Mostly probably at this point in his career projected as a DH going forward. But he wants to play the outfield. So a National League team, I think, is his preferred destination. No one in the National League wants to pay that kind of money. There is supposed to be a mystery team out there who's put 5 years in front of him. Now, there's always a mystery team when Boris is involved. We don't know what this mystery team may be or if it's just smoke and mirrors. But you give, I don't know. To me, I think JD Martinez, if he doesn't go to the Red Sox as a DH, which I still think is a shame because I liked watching him play in the Arizona outfield. I think watching him play in the Arizona outfield, we're okay. We're not used to like stellar. I mean, we had some stellar defense a couple years ago, but we've got Yasmani Tomas. Okay. We're not like that picky is what I'm saying. So if JD Martinez is like the offensive upgrade that we get rid of Yasmani Tomas, because yeah, that's fine. I think we can all live with that. Problem is though, he's only done what he's ever done in Arizona. I mean, he is maybe a 30 home run hitter pretty much the rest of his career. I mean, solid production, solid numbers, 300, 30, 100 potential. But that whole explosion of all those home runs and that has never happened in his career anywhere except for those games that he played here in Arizona. So I don't know that I like this as a long-term signing. He could be Nelson Cruz. I don't want the D-backs to sign him for 5 years. I hope we're not the mystery team for 5 years. That would be another really poor use of money. If we get him as a Diamondbacks fan for 1 more year, if we get the 1-year rental, see, that's what I would like to see. That makes sense for a franchise like the Diamondbacks. They got a little bit of money, not a lot, no farm system, but they've got sort of a window to win now. What I would like to see is while they've got this core, just sort of be like, the Kentucky basketball of Major League Baseball. Just one and done guys. Just keep bringing in guys that are like on the final year of their contract, just a team that wants to get rid of them for a little something on the way out the door. And they can build their value hitting here in Arizona. That to me, I love. That would be the way I would run this team going forward. I mean, look, so far so good. Maybe we get a Manny Machado, huh? Play him. That'd be fun. A little year of that. So that'd be a substitution. We're not going to give up much in a trade. So this whole hot stove thing, now where's Hosmer going to go? San Diego? I think, honestly, the majority of these players, here's what I really, truly think. The majority of these players are going to go back where they came from. So, like, Arrieta probably ends up back with the Cubs. Darvish probably ends up back with the Dodgers. Although Darvish could kind of be, I don't know. He's got more flexibility. Hosmer, Royals. JD Martinez, maybe 1 year. I mean, the more and more likely it's seeming, the longer this goes on, just why not just do a year, we'll pay 30 million, 25 million or something for 1 year, I'm sure. Keep the value hot, try it again next year. I don't know. Honestly, though, I think a lot of these guys are going to sign for a hell of a lot less. The longer they drag it out, the longer the owners are dragging it out, the longer Boris drags it out, the less anybody's going to get paid. So that makes it really annoying and confusing as a fantasy manager, not knowing how do you project and slot these players. Because, I mean, if we're being totally honest, hitting in San Diego is different than hitting in Kansas City. Hitting in Arizona is different than hitting in Boston. I mean, there are nuances to every park, but there are certain things to be considered. Certain teams have certain lineups. So with all that to be like sort of decided, it does make certain players harder to project. I still say Hosmer's kind of that last stop first baseman for redraft leagues. And JD Martinez is probably still good for roughly 40 home runs no matter where he ends up with. Like 40, probably reasonable. Could be more. Could be more. Track record isn't there for more, but that'd be nice. So as far as slotting these guys in, we've seen some early rankings, just going off of ADPs and stuff and Fantrax. JD Martinez so far is going a lot higher than I like. Hosmer's probably right about where you'd expect him. Arrieta and Darvish, same thing. I'm sure I'm leaving guys you want to hear about out, but these are just kind of players that, I particularly focus on. It will be interesting to see what happens because it literally is just boom, boom, boom. And every team involved, when these dominoes start falling, they're all probably either playoff teams from last year going back at it again this year, or teams that are playing to win this year. So it will have, in my mind, playoff implications, not necessarily for your fantasy teams, but for the rest of the year. So I don't know if you guys have any free agent bitches, anything, not women, or people you've dominated over. But if you have anything you complain about, something you want to bitch about, how about that? Phrasing. If you guys have any like hot stove complaints, fire them at me. Hit me on Twitter. Paying attention to the old Twitter feed here. That's at letter F, letter S, word double letter FSAA. And I always like to talk about, where's somebody going to go and where a trade's going to go and all this. I'll move on. I'll move on for now because that really is just such a dead topic. We've been beating it all winter. I feel like the whole where's the hot stove? The pilot light went out. Well, the pilot light is Scott Boras, and he's like, I need money. That's what's holding it up, money. And all these people have plenty of it. Just goddamn pass it out, and let's get on to the spring training baseball. There we go. Okay, that's enough of that for me. Next on my list of, I got beef with this shit. I'm having a little trouble with experts and fantasy, writers and experts. And, I'm an addict, not an expert. We're addicts, not experts. Lately, I've been getting gamed, jerked around, cock blocked on trades. There's a little bit of, how much do you know pimping questions going on. There's all this sort of stuff going on lately. And I'm thinking, why do I even give a shit? Why do I talk to these people? Why, because I kind of halfway have to be part of the industry, but I really just don't give a fuck about whatever little hangups they have. You get into some of these experts leagues and it's nothing but, now granted, I'm a complainer. I'm a serial complainer, but it's nothing but bitching about well, you didn't accept my trade rape. It's yeah, no means no, motherfucker. That's why, yeah, no means no. Thank you. I thank God you're not the commissioner, and this is some shenanigans where you're just gonna oh, yes, anyways, rape me. But yeah, I get bitched at because I don't accept shenanigans bullshit trades. I get complained at because I run trade ideas past people to heat up the leagues, let's get some trade talks going. You think about our addicts leagues, we're all constantly running ideas past each other. There's no, I can't help you with that because we're in the same league. And it's not anyone asking for help. No one's asked anybody for help. James, have I ever asked you for help? No. Have you ever asked me for help? No. There might be, what do you think about this? I'm looking at this, and here's my perspective. Tell me if I'm crazy. That's what addicts do. We're not afraid of you getting a trade in the same league that we're in. Oh my, the competition just got a bit more challenging. Oh, I can't win my expert money that I need so bad. So, what is it? You got to get in a paid league and just ram somebody and take their money? And then, pass out half-cocked advice most of the time that really kind of only, is self-serving when you get these people in the leagues anyways? Yeah, that's helpful. That really helps. That just gets the fucking job done. And, whether or not I'm an industry insider, that remains to be seen. We got that. I'm not going to talk about that too much because I don't want to burn a bridge. We had the industry insider invites going out today. I hope you got one. As of yet, I have yet to receive mine, but that's all right. I'm an addict, not an expert. I ain't going to suck anybody's dick to be in their league. Hate to say it. Next topic. I've been thinking about this. We had the announcement, I believe it was yesterday, and I don't know if you follow news or broadcasting news. Obviously, I'm a bit of a news and broadcasting nerd. It's kind of my forte, my background, if you will. We got the news. NBC during the Super Bowl will absolutely be promoting the shit out of the national anthem protests. We're going to show everybody knees, not knees, and respect, not respect, protest, not protest. And I got to thinking about this. Everybody knows I've got slightly conservative leanings when it comes to things like the flag. I feel like, you might as well, if you're like a Jehovah's Witness or something, and you got a religious objection, and freedom of speech applies here too. You can sit and kneel. I don't give a shit, really. I don't think you should. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should necessarily. But I got to thinking about, this whole national anthem thing. I think, yes, especially if there are troops on the field waving the flag that they have sacrificed for, not just them, their families. They're in the stands. They're watching. They're buying tickets, shelling out tickets for families. They're watching at home, being disrespected or feeling disrespected. And even if it's not personally disrespected, they feel disrespected. So I got thinking about this. Why do we have this national anthem anyways? Well, turns out it was some jingoistic shit, which at the time made sense. And now that I think about it in the 21st century, it may not make any sense at all. If we've got something that's really just so divisive, when sports used to be that last bastion of like, let's just chill the fuck out. We can all just enjoy it. Like those goddamn Republicans, those goddamn Democrats, everybody, politics is just one big ass blast, right? But at least we got our sports, okay? Now we don't even have that. So what I think we should do, unless it's the Olympics, let's just do away with the national anthem. I know a lot of people who would be more conservative, or at least as conservative as I am, will really dislike that idea. But I think since it's just such, like, I don't want to hear about protests, and I don't want to hear about you're upset. I just don't want to hear about it. It's one of those things. It's like if the kids are fighting in the back seat, you take the shit away from them, you tell them to bolt to shut the fuck up. So we got too many kids, and all this, Dad's trying to drive here and watch the fucking Super Bowl, and I don't want to hear anymore. God damn it. All right, that's enough of that rant. So we talked about the sports media. Firing on along here. Reading a fascinating article yesterday. I retweeted it. Feel free to go look at the Twitter timeline. And it was discussing basically some of the big broadcasting changes that are coming in the year 2018. Obviously, we're 11 days in now. Nothing's happened yet, but there's some carryover from things that happened in 2017, buyouts, mergers, all this. And the sports landscape is about to change massively. The way we all consume sports, the way we all traditionally understand sports the last 5-10 years, especially, where all this new money's coming from, the regional sports networks, all of that just got flipped over. Like, we've heard about how poorly ESPN's doing. Well, Fox just sold off all the regional sports networks, like, Fox Sports Arizona, Fox Sports Midwest, where Fox Sports, wherever you watch, whatever team you watch. All that's been sold off now to ESPN. So ESPN will be rebranding and reshaping all their regional coverage, and everything's going to get real weird. Then we got talk that Fox, who still has part of their news situation, and so they sold all their entertainment assets and the regional sports stuff. It was a weird sell-off. The reason why they did that is because of these antitrust laws and other things. It would have been way too difficult to just sell all of Fox entirely to Disney. So what's probably going to happen here is you've got Fox Sports that still exists as FS1 and Fox, like Fox Sports, like just regular Fox Sports. All of that is possibly going to be purchased or is apparently discussed about being purchased by Amazon. Amazon, as you know, is a place to go shopping. But maybe you didn't know this, and you probably did because, fuck, I'm dumber than you are. Amazon is obviously, there's Amazon Web Services. They're a data company, an analytics company. They're very heavily involved in just backbone of the internet stuff that you and I don't see every day, but we see the results of it and enjoy the fruits of that. So Amazon looking to splash into the entertainment stuff a little bit more, looking to splash into the content a little bit more, and now the sports. They have a platform, they have the ability, they have the knowledge of the web, so to speak, to now make these sporting events much more, I don't know, mobile, 21st century. And part of the 21st century digital game for sports happens to be fantasy. We've noticed lately places like ESPN, which is possibly, like, the way I'm reading about ESPN restructuring and things going down over there. Hell, Matthew Berry even has his own sexual allegation things going on. The way it sounds like it's going, Yahoo, ESPN, the way I'm seeing this, I'm just prognosticating here, forecasting. The way I see this is that Yahoo, who had to sell off a lot and is laying off a lot of their sports platform people, all of that's going the way of the dinosaur. Whether or not companies like Google or Amazon can step up and provide similar content or better content is what I'm looking forward to. This is what I'm wondering. This is what I'm starting to see here. I'm starting to look at these things and think about what might happen here. What does that mean to us? I know it's nerd shit like broadcast news and how you guys are all studying advanced stats and shit. I don't understand doing math that I'm like, my brain fucking hurts, man. I don't know. Somebody asked me to add an OBP to my league, and I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with batting average? God damn it. Back of the baseball card stat. I don't want to do math. I'm dumb. But for some reason, I can follow these business transactions and sports news and broadcast news, and I'm seeing this picture. I'm seeing a trend. And I want to be part of this movement. I don't want to be sitting here like 5 years from now, the way ESPN's fantasy is now. I don't, 5 years from now, Yahoo is going to be that. It's going to be what ESPN is today. So I think we need to start, honestly, we've said it before. It's time to start looking at places like Fantrax. Obviously, Fantrax, a little bit rough around the edges. Got some kinks to work out. But there's Flea Flicker, there's Fantrax, there's other sites. There's other options. These are things we need to start considering. Now, those options don't have the same financial backing, obviously. So they're never going to be, or at least until they have any kind of something, they're never going to be as good. Let's just be honest. They can't staff it. They can't fund it. They can't turn it around as quick, whatever. Maybe they can turn some of it around quicker. I don't know. Fantrax is pretty responsive. I really am looking at this Amazon thing, wondering just how much of the sports content, because if you've ever been to foxsports.com where they have their it's dead. It's a ghost town. This is where they failed. So, and this is what makes me think of all of just fantasy sports content in general. We got the league, where we play may change, how we play may change. What about how all the content is produced? I mean, how often have you sat down to read an article lately? I mean, we do read articles. Baseball fantasy players are among the nerdiest of all fantasy players there are. Right? I mean, it's so stat intensive. It's the only sport other sports have stats. We know that. But it's the only one you can go back 100 years. It's the only one you can really break down absolutely every element of the game into some sort of math equation and then put math equations on top of those math equations. I mean, literally, if we sat Einstein down to look at fan graphs or whatever, the guy never would have discovered the theory of relativity. So it's too much math for me. But following this other shit, I'm just seeing. I want to know where we go. Where does all this content keep going? I don't think it's print. I don't think it's typed words, because being able to advertise now is not about a picture. A picture doesn't just like click this link to go to this site. No. As much as we all hate those ads at the beginning of the YouTube videos and stuff like that, that's what advertising companies want. They want their own little viral videos at the start of a viral video. That's what sells. They want their product to be built in, because it's honestly, advertising's a difficult game. The internet's changed things. We all know this. But it's about how it's continuing to evolve and continuing to change. So advertisers want to do video. They want to show you things. They want it in your eyeballs, in your ears, so you can remember it. What's that name again? It's Mr. Plow, right? I think content's going the same way. You know, am I ever going to be as brilliant at describing who you should draft as, you know, any of these writers or experts? Probably not. But they need to get on the wagon of having a personality to either be on camera or record on a mic. There are very few experts, from what I've seen, that truly have that ability. It's a short list. You know, I mean, you know, the guys at the Fantasy Sports Network, they're Canadian hosers, eh? But they got a little bit of a thing. They got a nice set. They got a whole mic presence. But they're a bunch of Canadian hosers, eh? But, you know, Andy Behrens, Brad Evans, they got a nice little sort of like, going back and forth. But really, it's video, it's audio, and it's probably mostly just video. So, Andrew, this pertains to you too. Even like Andrew from Fantasy Aid, he writes for Six Man Rotation, and Fantasy Aid 1 is his Twitter, and check out his YouTube channel. Great fantasy baseball content. But I think this applies to him too, in the sense that, you know, you can splash up a little screen with some numbers and say a quick blurb about the players, but like on camera, describing something, showing something. This is the future. Like it's not going to be just like, here's what I wrote. I think everything is becoming this much more media-rich, sensory sort of experience. I mean, think about this. Like, it's literally not going to be long till like we're walking around with drones filming ourselves selfie mode all the time. I mean, this is literally what's happening. So everything is going that way. And I'm just curious to see where it's going, because I want to get on there and I want to be the loudest motherfucker in the room. I want to be the first guy in the room, like, drinking, like, where the fuck are you assholes fucking where you been? What took so long? Woo! You know, loudest dudes, first one there. I don't know how that would happen, but so I'm going to try to be just sticking to that, sticking with what I know. I could write, I could go on my website, fantasysportsaddicts.com, and I could be like, here's my top 15 second baseman. And it would be literally the exact fucking same shit that you see everywhere else. Everyone else who wants to get into this fantasy game would be like, well, let me just sort of, there's my list. But it's okay. And you check it off of another guy's list and another guy's list and another guy's list. And eventually it's the law of averages. And you've seen the same shit 1,000 times. If you've played fantasy sports more than one fucking time in your life, like, you don't need 40 people telling you what to do. You've got your own mental picture of who to rank and how to rank them and where they're probably valued and where they're probably going to get drafted. You know, I like lists. I like names, but that content just ain't for me. I can't do it. I won't do it because it drives me insane. I don't go look for it. And I'll do a little bit of it. I'll give sleepers and I'll give busts and rookies and I'll say players I like, all that stuff. But I'm just not going to be the same thing, because so many people who just do the same thing over and over and over. And it's like, you know, it's the same people who are trade raping you in the experts leagues, you know? It's like, quit patting yourself on the back. So what? You wrote some fucking articles online about the same shit everybody else knows. So what? I read the same thing fucking 2 sites over, you know? Ugh. I just can't get on it. Can't get on it. All right. I don't want to keep this one too long because I want to get on a schedule of more frequent podcasts. I don't really, you know, I don't want to go off on topics too long. I do want to start getting some Q&A going again. Again, not that I'm going to give you the expert answer, but you guys ask questions that I can answer. You know what I'm saying? You ask it in a way that you want to hear what I got to say. You want to hear that answer. Like, what would fantasy Satan do? What would fantasy Jesus do? What would fantasy Tom do? He's looking at that and he's, you had the nerve to send me this offer? I can tell you how to respond to that offer. But speaking of bad offers, I'm going to throw this one out here real quick. It's not even a specific offer, but, well, the experts, right? The expert who isn't really an expert, but every league's got one, right? The guy that sends you the trade request that proceeds to tell you what you're doing wrong and how he can fix your team for you if you just make this trade with him. They line him up. Hey, I think I see what's wrong with your team. And you're like, is that so? Seems like I'm only 5 games back of you. This is a 30-team league. Might not be doing too bad, except if I give you what you're asking, I've just fucked myself entirely. But you know how to fix my team, right? Yeah, 2 pieces of shit equals something nice for you to win. Right, that makes fucking sense. God, how was I doing it before you came along to fucking instruct me? You don't need these fucking experts in your lives. You don't need them. You got it. You already know it. Come on. Come on with this. So that's what I want to do. Push up the broadcast schedule. Get a little angrier. Not too angry. Maybe do a swear jar. I don't know. Somebody count how many times, leave in the comments down below how many times I was swearing today. We'll work that swear jar in. We'll set it up. Maybe somewhere behind the skateboard or something. Or just off camera. I don't know. Whatever. I think it'd be funny to see how much money I collect over a year. Like how often does Tom swear? Plus, look, I don't know. Maybe I could set it aside. It'll be like how to pay Melinda to help me fix this crappy website that just keeps crashing. It's actually not that bad. It just doesn't have anything going on. So this podcast will be going on the website directly afterwards. And I've been told, I heard a little birdie landed on my shoulder and tweeted right in my ear about an upcoming article about a certain Atlanta Braves pitcher on the website. Stay tuned for that. Cubby Knoll. Yeah, so we're trying to get the content kind of ramped up a little bit. Obviously, baseball season is quite nice time for that, but it brings me to my next point, which is the following. It's Thursday. It's Thursday evening later. I think it's the perfect time for a mock draft. That's right. It's announced. Yeah. Ring the bell, sound the horn, sound the alarm, sound the sirens. All hands to battle stations. We're mock drafting tonight on Fantrax. We're going to mock in a sock. Whatever East Coast time works for all of you guys in Florida. We now have like 75 addicts in Florida. And everybody else is in the Northeast freezing their fucking tits off, basically. So you guys on the East Coast basically run the show. I can't think of any other West Coast fantasy baseball person, really, except for myself. So you guys pick the time. I'll set it up. Mock draft tonight. I'll see y'all there. And if you miss it, don't worry. We're going to do more. Come by our website. Hit me up on Twitter. All that stuff. Website's FantasySportsAddicts.com. We're on Twitter at letter F, letter S. We're double letter A, FSAA. I'll be hanging out on the site to post links for the mock draft for whatever you need. If you need any of that. Otherwise, I'll be just boop, boop, boop. We'll talk on Twitter. Like I said, at letter F, letter S, we're double letter A, FSAA. And again, if you guys have any questions, feedback, things you'd like to see, things you'd like to not hear or not do or whatever, please let me know. I'll get to that. Stay tuned for all my baseball, here's what Tom thinks, my rankings. Just like everybody else. So, you know what I want to do? I got a few things I want to do real quick. Well, not real quick, just video ideas I want to throw out there. I'm going to do flowers for Algernon. If you're familiar with that that work. Flowers for Algernon. What I'm going to do is prospects for Bronny. We're going to teach Bronson about prospect values, how some of them pan out and some of them don't. We'll show them sort of like a side-by-side of like who's where they used to be and yada, yada, maybe. That'll be fun. And, I just, different stuff. I'm trying to think. I got a whole list of different shit, but you'd start thinking I was crazy if I started running through it all. So, tell you what, baseball season's on my mind, but if this hot stove can hurry up and heat up, because we're getting fucking stovepiped. Stovepiped by the MLB. So, get your stovepipes ready. FantasySportsAddicts.com. Mock draft tonight. On Twitter, at letter F, letter S, word double F, double A. Fantasy gods, please grant me the serenity to set my ideal lineup, courage to add drop aggressively, and the wisdom, as always, to make good trades. Thank you very much. Please give a comment down below, thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Thank you. See you guys next time.